And just a little something about yourself. We have the second and third group of mentors here. We have some other representatives, people that have helped and done that. We've got some people that have been really active in the house helping us, which is greatly appreciated, great group of people. And then we have a bunch of underclassmen that haven't done anything, but we're going to expose you to mentoring tonight. And I'll let probably either Irv or Kurt, neither one of whom are here yet. Oh, hi. Good morning. How are you? Nice to see you. So I stand corrected.
Come right in the front row.
Yeah, that's fine. Yep, so can't see you. Do that, but I'm just going to ask Barry Johnston back there in the back to start, and we're going to go this way, and then this way, and this way. And just introduce yourself. Give your AT number if you want, if you have one, and otherwise we'll do that. Okay.
I'm Barry Johnston, AT 1072. I live in Omaha. Had a chance to meet a few of you when I spoke at the house, what was that, 5-6 months ago?
Yep.
So some of you are familiar anyway, and poor guys had to listen to me one night. Probably saying, sit down. Anyway, this seems to be an exciting deal for me. I'm still, most of my buddies have retired, but I decided not to, and so I still substitute teach. And my background is IBM. I spent a couple of years in London, and then decided when I got old that I wanted to teach. So that's why.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks, Barry.
I'm Mike Gorman, AT 1200, and I've been serving as the alumni chapter advisor for the last 20 years. So, thank you.
I'm Mark Antonson, AT 2103, and I serve as the district chief for the district that includes Nebraska.
I'm John Pfeiffer, 2399 is my AT. I'm currently one of the interns for the Experience Company, and I'm also the pledge educator for this year.
I'm Kevin Wilhelm, senior, 2372, former Rush chair, and now I'm just a washed up senior. Is that the truth?
Because I'm going to sit next to Kevin, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Bruce McKay, AT 1149, Capital Campaign, co-chair, work with mentors, experience company, edit the Dragon's Tail, and a few other things. Nice to have you all here. Caleb.
My name is Drew Spadaro. I'm a sophomore, AT 2439, and I'm one of the newest interns for the Experience Company.
I'm Caleb Duncan, AT 2383. I'm the Alumni Relations Chair, and I was the intern for the Experience Company for the last 3 semesters, and yeah, that's about it. Also the camera guy.
I'm AT 1543. I'm damn glad to be a beta.
Yeah, glad you're
One of the greatest pledge fans ever.
I'm Luke Drecke, and I'm a pledge this semester, so that's about all I have for you.
Where are you from, Luke?
Columbus.
Okay.
Jack Ellis, also a pledge from Omaha.
Ross Weebinga, a pledge from Bell Rapids, South Dakota.
Connor Boyens, I'm a pledge from Omaha.
My name is Max Benarsdal, and I'm a pledge from here in Lincoln.
I'm Trevor Mumford, and I'm a pledge, and I'm from Omaha as well.
I'm Tanner Ushida, and I'm a pledge from Geneva, Nebraska.
I'm Eric Goodwin, and I'm a pledge from Kansas City, Missouri.
Nico Ortiz, AT 2431. I'm a junior in the house, and I'm proud to be a beta. I'm Brady McDonald. I'm a pledge this semester as well, and I'm from Lincoln, Nebraska.
I think that's about, hang on a second, Dave. I think that's about it for pledges, but you guys have pledged a great house, and you're not eligible for the mentoring program yet, but you'll see a little about what it takes place tonight. Just darn glad that you're here, and best of luck to you in your career. I'm been a beta for 53 years. You can do the math, and that makes me about 70 years old. And as Whippet knows, my wife and I spent 5 months in Phoenix with 7 of my pledge brothers. And it's really darn cool to keep up a relationship for that long. So may you guys have a long relationship together too. Dave.
I'm Dave Erickson. Started in '68 in architecture as a 5-year program then. I wanted to be really good at it, so I stretched it to 6. I'm a brand new mentor. Our firm was lucky enough to do the redo, one of the firms that did the recent redo.
I'm Pete Allman, 1482 from Lincoln. Also damn proud I'm a Beta, and also proud I'm mentor to Griffin and Gage.
They asked you to come back.
What's that?
They asked you to come back.
Yeah.
I'm Bill Strain, 181237. I'm a retiring CPA after 45 years, and so if you have any income tax questions, I answer them for free.
I'm Cole Wellman, AT 2455. I'm from Omaha, and I recently just am taking up the lead on kind of the internship part for the experience company.
My name's Milt Ramju, AT 1166. I'm from Nebraska City originally, and lived in Papillion the last 27 out of the last 30 years, and recently built a home in Lincoln. And look forward to getting more active than I have recently.
My name is Tyler Jacobson. I'm a sophomore in the house, AT 2454. I'm from Malcolm, Nebraska.
Hi everyone, I'm Sam Brower, AT 2380. I'm the chapter president and a senior. I'll give some remarks a bit later about sort of the trajectory of the house, or just some brief updates too, but really excited to be here and thank God I'm a Beta.
Hi, I'm Riley Berner. I'm a pledge this year, and I'm from Norfolk.
I am Ryan Jewell. I'm AT 2084 and the current recruitment advisor, and live here in Lincoln and work as an engineer for another Beta. That's it.
I'm John Foley. Excuse me, I'm from Omaha. AT 1421. I'm a new mentor, and before Bill speaks, the red brick in the back hall is mine.
That's the guy.
Connor?
Oh yeah, I'm Connor Dana. I'm currently serving as the president of the experience company, AT 2189, and thank God I'm a Beta, and glad you're all here.
I'm Kurt Siebert. My AT is 2259, and I live up in Omaha and work for Gallup.
I'm Jason Barker, 2271, same pledge class as Kurt. I live up in Omaha, and I'm a recruiter for an IT company.
My name's Nathan Jones. I was the pledge class right before these two gentlemen here, AT 2247. And I own a coffee roaster here in Lincoln, first time being a mentor.
And it's just in time, Tyler, you get to, AT, you get to introduce yourself, but just say a little something about you before you eat.
Alright, Tyler Carpenter, AT 2274, pledge class 2010 with Kurt. I work for Deloitte & Touche. I'm an auditor.
There you go.
Yep.
Grant Ratchey, I live in Omaha, AT 2320. I graduated 2 years ago. I work for Animal Health Pharmaceutical company there. So.
Grab something to eat, grab something to drink, and go ahead and sit down. Before I turn it over to...
I'm Bill Dana.
I was going to turn it over to you.
Oh, don't worry about that. I'm co-chair on the capital campaign with Bruce, and then we've also helped out on finding the experienced company mentors, and so we've talked to a lot of you guys, and it's been a good experience. 1489, and I'm a real estate developer up in Omaha. Thank God I'm a Beta.
Before I'm going to say something about Steve, first of all. This is the office of Unico Insurance and Midlands Financial. Steve is principal at Midland Financial. I don't know, vice president, I don't know how you want me to go ahead and describe it, but this is his office building. And Steve and a lot of other people behind the scenes that aren't even betas were instrumental in getting us in here and making sure everything goes well. And I think we'll see a great big round of applause. It's yours for a second.
Again, I'm a beta. I'm in the first mentee class. I have a mentee that's going to be a senior this fall, Sam Skokia. He was with us yesterday for the Sun to the Moon deal, and we all come together and do a lot of things. I think I have the lowest 18 number in here, probably 18,1033.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
So, anyway, welcome to our facilities. We are a total financial services company. We have about 160 employees total. We also do fire and casualty. There was a lady that decided that she didn't like somebody at the Lincoln Public School Administration to set that building on fire, and we paid $18 million to build a new building for the Lincoln Public Schools. So that's kind of what we do up here. We handle money and risk.
And that was my old office building that burned down before State Farm did
And
too.
in my earlier years, Bruce was my underwriter for life insurance, and as long as I put AT on there, I got everybody approved, preferred elite.
That's absolutely right. My job, give the company away. So, Curtis, I'm gonna let you say something, and then we'll turn it over. Okay?
Every so often, you'll have to hear somebody refer to me as Curtis. Well, that's because, oh, come on down, okay. I was in a pledge class that had 5 Bills, or 5 Williams. And so my brother used to tease me because by calling me my middle name Curtis, and it stuck, and all my friends started calling me Curtis, so it seemed like an easy fix for a pledge class that had 5 Bills in it. So
That's not all we call it.
yeah. I've got a few other names. I've got Dancing Bear. I got a little fire water in me one time at an FAC, and I jumped on over a bonfire, and they go, look at that dancing bear, and that one stuck too. So I'm just going to say a few brief things about the Experience Company and about the mentoring program particularly. The Experience Company, I think, like I said last year when we first had the first group of mentor training, is that the key to the, and I'm speaking specifically to the actives that are here and the pledges that are here, is that the key to the Experience Company is it has to be an active pledge driven or an active driven program. It's one thing for us alumni to support the program, but if it's something that's driven by the alumni, then it won't be as beneficial to everybody. And if the first year is any indication as to how the House has embraced the Experience Company and the mentoring program, we are well on our way of having just a great program, and we're improving it all the time. I know I can speak personally for myself. Josh Greason is my mentee, and we just really enjoy the time that
Arrows to go forward, backwards.
Perfect. That will do. Great. Well, hello everyone. How's everyone doing? Show of hands, who all here has been a mentor the past year with the Experience Company? Okay, pretty good. Who all here has been a mentor before in any organization? Okay. Who all here has been or has had a mentor? Okay, pretty good. Who all here knows the definition of a mentor or knows what a mentor is? All right, perfect. Got everyone down. I am Kurt Siebert. So I am AT 2259. I was in the House 4 years ago. So I officially now have been out of the House for 4 years. So therefore the seniors now were not in the House when I was in the House. So now I'm officially old, I would say. And I work at Gallup. And so when you all talk about taking StrengthsFinder and Mike taking you through your results, that is something Gallup does. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. My role at Gallup, I actually have one of my closest friends in Beta named Rahul Batra. He thinks that my role at Gallup is to sit at my desk all day and take StrengthsFinder 50 times a day to see if I get different results. That is not my role. I am on our higher ed sales team, and so I work with schools, universities that use Strengths to kind of help do what we're doing here. Basically, is kind of my job. So I do that at Stanford, University of Utah, schools all across the country. But we are here today to talk about mentoring. So the original plan was for me to talk a little bit about Gallup and kind of our philosophies around mentoring, and for Irv to talk around teammates. But we're gonna, I think Irv has food poisoning, so it's just gonna be me talking a little bit about mentoring. But before I do that, one of the things we found out at Gallup through research and engagement is that you don't necessarily feel a part of a conversation or engaged in the room until you hear yourself talk. So I want to give you all a chance to kind of talk a little bit. So I want you to talk to the person next to you. I want you to say your name. Hopefully you've already gathered that, but if not, say your name. And I want you to just tell them, what are you most looking forward to about being a mentor? If you're a pledge and you're not a mentor, say, what are you most looking forward to about being in Beta? And we'll just do 1 minute round table, and then we'll bring it back. So go ahead. What are you most What are some things that you're looking forward to about, let's start with the mentors first. Shout it out, yeah.
Reconnecting with college age kids. So, they're still kids, aren't they?
Yeah.
You're still a kid.
I think I'm still a kid, so anyway. What's that? Garachi? Sure. We're gonna just call it.
No,
names.
I was saying I'm looking forward to kind of passing on the wisdom that was given to me in college, and just the little things like networking and knowing what different career paths are out there, and even down to things like resumes and cover letters and just like that.
Awesome. So very cool.
I told Kevin I was glad I didn't have to go through Rush again. You guys are good, okay?
Anything else? What about the pledges? What are you most looking forward to about being in Beta?
We were kind of saying we were excited for the ability to tap into the wisdom and some of the experiences of the alumni network, because we've heard a lot of great things.
Okay, you guys. Steve, how long have you been in Beta? You said you were the lowest AT, right?
Since 1959.
So we've got 58 years. Did I get that right? So we got 58 years of experience of Betas. Pretty awesome. What about any others? Yeah.
I just said forming only new relationships with the guys in the house and like connection with the alumni, because it's only beneficial on my part.
What about those who have been mentors? What have been some of your favorite experiences about being a mentor? Anything stick out?
You can speak to that, can you?
Well, I was going to do it when I up there.
Oh, okay. Never mind. You can share. You can say that later.
Yeah.
I'll share mine. So I mentor Will Schollenberg, and raise a show of hands who all knows Will. Any of the pledges know Will. So Will and I don't know who did the matchmaking here, but Will and I are like identical. So we were involved in the same organizations in college. So we kind of hit it off right away. But I would say one of the best moments I've had with Will is just being able to go golfing with him. So this summer I just took him out, we went golfing, played 9 holes, and just caught up on everything. And it was amazing to me at that point. I had not known Will for a year at that point, so this was last summer, and how well we knew each other. Like, I'd only hung out with him 4 times, and the fact that because when we hung out, we just talked. Like, it was almost like I was just hanging out with one of my friends, that a year into it, all of a sudden it's like I've got this guy that I trust, he trusts me, and it's just cool to have that. And for me, it's been fun because I don't know what's going on in the house, so Will keeps me updated, and so I love that piece too. So as mentors, it's kind of cool to be able to know how's the house doing, what are the things you guys are up to. So that's been awesome. Any other stories or anything else people have really loved about being a mentor? Yeah.
When I was a mentor at State Farm, I had a guy that I was a mentor to him about 5 years, and he calls me at home one night, which was unusual, and he says, "Can we meet?" And I says, "Yeah." I says, "What time?" He says, "Can we meet now?" And he just got a diagnosis of kidney cancer. And he was probably 15 years younger than I was, and he says it's fatal. And he says, his dad was out of the picture, and he says, "I just need somebody to talk to." And I went over to his place and stayed until about 3:30 in the morning just talking him through the thing. He lived 4 or 5 months, but it's tough to see him. But I think being there and just the ability to sit there and talk about the most difficult time of your life, and Steve has experienced that too, but it's a heartbreaker sometimes.
It's huge.
But if you develop the relationship and develop it right, you can be a friend to these people too.
Cool. Yeah, it's been amazing. But what we're here today to kind of talk a little bit about is pretty much today my focus is just going to be simply, I feel like most people in the room, everyone here who's a mentor has been asked to be a mentor. Whether you believe it or not, you are someone that we know is a good role model to the actives and pledges. And you've shown us that in your involvement with Beta and your character and what you've done with your careers, what you did when you were in Beta. So take that to heart. Know that everyone is asked to be a mentor, and that we actually sought people out to become mentors because we feel like your group, there may be other people that want to be, but this group here are people that we know are good mentors. And so today I don't think I need to do a lot of teaching you how to mentor because I feel like everyone in this room knows that pretty well. So my goal today is really simple, is just to teach you kind of what are we about. So what is the Experience Company about when it comes to mentoring? So what's our approach to mentoring, and what are kind of the things that we as mentors can focus on with our mentees? That pretty much simple. Does that sound good? Expectations good? And then after that, just questions. So if you have questions about Gallup strengths, we can kind of get into that. When I think about being a mentor, I think one of the first and foremost, most important things to do is to kind of reflect and think a little bit about who have your mentors been? Who have your mentors been? So I would love it to take just another minute and to talk with your person that you were talking with before. Who has been someone that has invested in you? So it could be a mentor in Beta, it could be a family member, someone at work, someone in your life that has taken an interest in you. And just tell the person next to you just a tiny little bit about who that person is. It'll take 1 minute. Let's see.
This one's about somebody So I don't mentor people. He was in Steve's blood class. The whole experience he came to us in my sophomore year. And basically just told us about how he internships and how Yep. So it was probably 10 or 11.
My college career and even involvement in Beta, I think a lot of that stemmed from just being around him and kind of like watching what he's done. So I know that definitely was a huge difference in my college career so far.
Awesome. Any others? Yeah?
So my mentor through the experience company is Grant Gregory, and just meeting him and talking everything from his time in the house and the experiences that he's had and carried through, and talking with about when he's with Steve, and you guys are talking about pledge class days and all the bros and relationships that you guys still have. I think that's just absolutely incredible. And there was a group of 6 of us that were lucky enough to go to Grant's land up in Wyoming.
That looked awesome.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, and it was just breathtaking up there. And we talked everything from beta to life in general to politics and everything in between, and really just having him there to talk with and to learn from. It's an invaluable experience.
That's awesome. Very cool. Any others? When you think about that person that you just described to the person next to you, what are some words that you used if you were to describe that person? What were some kind of things that maybe stick out to you about that person? Just shout them out. Just words that you would use to describe that person, just in general.
You respected their opinion.
Respected their opinion.
Supportive.
Supportive.
Good listener.
Good listener.
Encouraging.
Encouraging. Invested. Trust. Perfect. It's like you guys have been reading the manual or something. Any others? Yeah.
Respectful.
Respectful.
Dreamer.
Dreamer.
Patient.
Patient.
Feeling of comfort.
Comfort.
Grounded.
Grounded. I'd throw out just timely, just there. Feels like you're there whenever you need. So these are kind of the things that for us, when we think about being mentors, are the words that we would want our mentee to describe. So I think when you think about being a mentor, and obviously as Irv kind of has put together, if you go through the email, by the way, what Irv has here is in the email that Bruce sent. So if you want to kind of dive in, you can. It really is good. He actually, so Irv Dana was really involved with teammates, and so a lot of what he's put together for you is from teammates. And as you look through this, for us, people who have been asked in this room, we all were asked in this room because I think in general we're the type of people who, one word kind of sticks out to me is care. So and so for us as mentors, I think it's really just taking that time to just invest in that person and show them that you care. So any questions so far, kind of anything, or any other comments, anything? It was really fascinating for me to kind of watch. So at Gallup we do a lot of research, polling, questions, all sorts. And one of the things we did recently was we actually went in and we studied students and the impact that professors or teachers had on their lives. So we'd go into a big group of students and we'd ask them who their favorite teacher was, and then we'd ask them why, or what was it about that teacher that made them your favorite. And guess what the most common response that they said was? They cared about them as a person. That was number one. That was it. So if you all think about the people that have made a big impact in your life, that's probably the biggest takeaway, is that person just cared about you as a person. So when we think about also our role as a mentor, this is where strengths comes in. This is where the way I mentor is going to be different than the way Jason mentors, the way Connor mentors is going to be different than the way Steve mentors. So this is where, for you, this is where the strengths kind of comes in a little bit, if you feel like that's helpful to think about your own strengths. But this is where it just comes to, who am I as a mentor, right? And I think the more we can think about that before we get into taking on a mentor role, the better. So I encourage you to, in the next couple weeks before you get your mentee, or if you are a mentor and you're going to be revamping things with your mentee, take some time to really think about these questions. So what words would I want my mentee to describe me? If my mentee, if Will is sitting here 30 years from now and someone asks him to describe Kurt and what Kurt was like as a mentor, what are those things that I want him to say, right? I think that can be powerful, and again, they're all going to be different. So this is where the strengths language can be really helpful. If you're if you're an achiever and a really high executor, then maybe for you, you're a really good mentor because you're just there. You're timely, and when you commit to something, you're there. If you're high adaptability and you've got a lot of relationship themes, maybe it's really easy for you to just kind of listen and be laid back when you're with them. Great. So I just take some time. You don't have to do that now, but just think about who am I as a mentor? How do I want my mentee to describe me later on? And pledges, you can even think about this when you're a pledge. If you would want one of your pledge brothers, you can think of each other as mentors a little bit too throughout pledge semester. Think of, 6 months from now, what do I want my pledge brothers to say if someone asks them, hey, tell me about Tanner, what's Tanner? Think about that a little bit. So.
Before you switch from the picture, this is Lord question time. The gentleman on the right, pledges know who he is?
John Wood.
Pledges know who he is? Yeah.
No? Take a guess which fraternity he was in. Beta. That guy is the all-time winningest college basketball coach, John Wooden, who led UCLA to 11 national titles. I put him up here because I thought if we were going to have a picture of a guy who's a mentor to a lot of people, that would probably embody a pretty good mentor. So that's another way to think of yourself as a mentor. I like to sometimes think of myself as a coach. So when I'm with Will's really similar to me. I feel like every time I talk to him, I'm just talking to myself 4 years ago. And so I'm kind of like a coach. I try to take what Will is, who Will is, what he's good at, what he loves to do, and just guide him. Just like a good basketball coach would take someone who's already good at shooting and just guide them and help them get better. So that's kind of why I wanted to put that up there. Any questions on that, or comments, thoughts, additions from the crowd, since people here have been mentors for a long time, longer than me?
The basketball player on the left is
Lou Alcindor.
Lou Alcindor. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar now.
Awesome. So, kind of getting on the topic of strengths. By the way, if you ever want to look wise in front of your mentee, it doesn't have to be just about the strength itself from the Gallup language. It can just simply be, what are the things you love to do? What gets you excited? What are the classes you are enjoying right now? Those are strengths-based questions, right? So think about it from that lens, and it will definitely feel like you can get a lot more out of the relationship. So, kind of the biggest thing that I really wanted to just focus on a little bit here is simply just when what is our role as mentors of the experience company? So feel free if you guys have anything to chime in here, or any mentors, but this is kind of it in a nutshell. So when we are mentoring here, so new mentors who are taking this role on, really when you hang out with your mentee, obviously casual, friend, kind of hang out wherever you want, but it is encouraged that you sometime in the conversation talk about these types of things. So they are going to be ranging from sophomores to juniors, so it'd be really easy to ask them just what are they looking to do as their career, and just try and be that guide, be that coach. Again, everyone here has gotten into a good career, and we feel like there's a lot of wisdom in this room, so that's something you can leverage, right, with your mentee. Asking them kind of what are the things they're looking to do, giving some networking tips, giving them networking ideas, introducing them to people you know. So if you're sitting with your mentee, and I work at Gallup, I'm a business guy, and Will just did an internship in higher education, which is my clientele. So I happen to know a lot about that, but so for me, I can introduce him to some people that I know that are in higher ed to talk about what it's like to be in higher ed. So for you, if you're sitting with someone and they're into something that's completely different than you, just think about, who do I know in that field, right? Who are some of the betas that were in my pledge class, that were in that field, and just introduce them. So they have someone, because think about how helpful that is, right? As a sophomore or a junior, to be able to have someone out there older than you to talk to before actually going into that job. That is super helpful. Life skills. So this is where this group of betas can relate to. Irvin Williams is probably one of our mentors. Our house dad for about 10 years, Irv, was really good at this. And this is something I still remember some of the things that he taught us in the Gentleman Handbook. Funny story real quick about that is one time, by the way, who all knows Irvin? Pretty much, okay. So Irvin was our house dad. Irvin's 480 pounds, biggest man you'll ever meet, and just the nicest teddy bear you'll ever meet as well. And there was one time when so Irvin every Monday night for formal dinners would get a CD of this guy who would it was like a life lesson CD, and so it'd be kind of like 20-minute life lesson, like gung-ho, like take one step at a time and be like a really motivating talk. And there was one time when, I can't remember who all decided to do this, but a group of guys decided to change Irvin's CD of that life lessons with Bone Thugs and Harmony. And so we get up, and Irvin like stands about ready to like press play and hear this great speech, and it's just Bone Thugs and Harmony. And then of course he had his own thing. But life lessons, these are things that your mentees are going to be looking to you for. So any advice, any etiquette, anything you've learned in your years, you know, the littlest of things, right, to talk about with them, go ahead and just mention that stuff to them. They're open to listen. One of the things I feel like I've learned with being a mentor and also hearing the stories of the mentors, and this goes back to the guys in the house, is they're very open to advice. They're just there to listen. So definitely feel free to go into life skills. Internship guidance kind of gets on that networking piece. Resume building, this would be a great opportunity to talk to them about that, just any input you have. So any questions on this part? Any or examples from the crowd, people who have been mentors, things that you've done with your mentee that you think have been super helpful, or people who have had mentors, anything your mentor did that was super helpful? No?
I would say, like going out to dinner can really, just like the conversations that you have, that's like a definite good first step to kind of just like getting to know your mentee or your mentor that much better. Little things like going fishing. Yeah, Grant and I and a few of us did that, and that's huge when you're out in the water with, you know, just them, and you can have valuable conversation.
Yep, Sam?
Yeah, so my mentor is Dan Wary. I'm not sure how many of you guys know him, but he's a retired attorney in Lincoln. But one of the cool things about our relationship is that Dan has referred me to several like leadership or just personal development books. So that's been a real treasure. Like Don Clifton's,
Nice.
like the 2.0, just stuff like that. So that's been a really neat thing that has allowed our relationship to develop outside of our one-on-one meetings.
I would add, allow the mentee into your life. It's not really just one direction. Where take a dinner and include, if you have a wife, include your wife, and talk about golf. And I have found those really casual times is when the best stuff happens. So it's really not one way; it's two ways, and let them in. Let them in. A lot of good stuff will happen.
Yeah, I think one of the things I found that helped a ton was opening up to Will. So just like really almost on the first dinner, like I try to just be as authentic as can be. I can just open up like, look, I've been there before, like I know what it's like I've stressed out about a ton of things and all made a ton of mistakes. So just opening up to them a little bit, it just helps so much. Just being real, I think is huge. Great. Anything else? So yeah, that the real, in terms of time frames, I don't know if you're going to get into this later, but you know, I think for you guys as mentors, new mentors, you know, think about trying to see them, I think 2 times a semester at least, just to have that in-person opportunity to be together. But then other than that, even just trying to keep in touch with them a little bit. But I think people might hit on that later. But those are kind of the big things I really wanted to focus on. The other 2 pieces, these would be more just kind of, again, things that are just helpful if you need, would be the strengths piece. So if you are finding yourself where you really want to just get to know your mentee a little bit more, get to know a little bit more about them, that's where the strengths is an amazing tool. To just ask them about their strengths, you know, who are they as a leader, what are the things they love to do, tell me about the times where you've been a leader or just had opportunities that you've been really engaged. That is the strengths piece. And then the last thing that I have, this is the last slide that I have, is about well-being. So I only bring this up just because I found this to be a really easy way to think about your life. So these aren't questions you need to ask your mentee or anything. This is just a really easy way to think about when you think about life as a whole. So Gallup does a lot of research on this. and has found that these are kind of the 5 elements to your well-being, and that basically everything in life kind of falls into one of these 5 categories. And so it's really easy to just, these can be just really easy things to just kind of be thinking about when you're mentoring if you want. I just put that up there. So these are just very simple questions to think about. And then, yeah, other than that, I guess I can probably go back. Any questions on that? Just an idea. I'll share the slide with you, but it's just a really easy way to kind of think about some areas. So, any questions? So yeah, I mean, this is, for me, this is just stuff Gallup's put together. So if you ever are like interested in that whole area, I can always send this too. But any questions around mentoring or anything that we've talked about?
I think everybody got these handouts that Irv was actually going to go over. My brother Irv got sick with food poisoning this afternoon. Otherwise, he would have been here. But I do think they are pretty self-explanatory. But these are taken from his team work with teammates, and there's some good information on both of the handouts.
Yeah, these are fantastic.
Give you some food for thought.
Was that the PowerPoint, Curtis, that he was going to go ahead and do tonight? Which one were you on?
Well, the one that you reproduced for everybody.
That one, okay, all right.
And then, I don't know, is Steve still in the room?
Yep. Steve?
The Irv sent me over one late one, and either we'll send it out electronically or we can have it reproduced while we're here, but that may be asking too much because he got sick. He was going to reproduce it and then he got sick.
Why don't I just go ahead and I've still got this on email, so I'll forward that to Stephen and Sam, and you can distribute further if that's all right.
Yep.
Yeah, that was kind of the main thing. So other than that, just thanks everyone for volunteering to be a mentor. I know for us, I know everyone in this room has had someone invest in you, which has gotten you to where you are today. And I think what an awesome opportunity for us to be able to go into the Beta house and just invest in those young men. Obviously, they've got each other there for them and they've got their families, but I know for me when I was in Beta, I didn't have that. I didn't have that alumnus that was there for me to learn about. And so I think this is just a powerful experience for you guys in Beta to have. And so thanks everyone for volunteering, taking your time and being able to take the time to do this, because I think you're going to, first of all, you'll get a lot out of it just by learning from them yourself. And learning from what they have to offer, but I think you'll also make a big impact on them. So thanks everyone.
Yeah, I'm going to ask a question of you, and you're not prepared for this, so we can bounce back and forth, Curtis too, but we have a number of mentors that are not residents of Omaha and Lincoln. We've got one in Scottsdale, we've got one in Wyoming, we've got one in Colorado, Michigan, Kansas, Texas, what have you. It's going to be a little more difficult, gentlemen, for those to interact and go out to dinner together, but we want this to be a two-way street, so keep up the lines of communication. I don't know if you want to go ahead and talk about long-distance mentoring and...
They're not listening in, are they?
They're not listening in now, but this tape will be made available to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So so I actually know a couple of the long-distance mentors, and first of all, for them too, know that if you were asked to be a mentor and you are long distance, that means we probably have a pretty high opinion on you, right? Because you don't even live here and we still want you to be a mentor. So that says a lot about you. So feel pretty comfortable being a mentor. I feel like you should feel pretty confident about that. But secondly, I would just say, I think it just comes down to time, transparency, and just being able to just be there for them. So just setting that stage up front, that even if you're not in town, that feel free to call at any point. And then if you are back in town, trying to find some time to meet up with them, just for a little bit. But there's so many ways you can go about that, Skype and FaceTime. So I think it can be pretty similar, but just taking the time to just schedule out an hour-long conversation to have with them or whatnot, but treating it, I think, almost the same way. Do you have any insights on that? Or?
Yeah, I mean, Caleb and I both are mentees to Grant Gregory, who lives out in Connecticut. He flies to Omaha about every month, so sometimes we see him around then, which is good, just when you have those opportunities to have that in-face conversation. But honestly, with Grant, he likes to communicate with emails and even text messages, so we kind of do that. Just phone calls sometimes. I actually really appreciate when I get a phone call from Grant out of the blue.
Nice.
A lot of times I think a lot of our conversations are around the experience company, but that kind of evolves into more mentor kind of conversations. I think a couple good ideas, especially for long distance pairs, are kind of doing what Sam did with his mentor and having a book that maybe you guys can work through, or actually Grant shared with us like the one thing that he does with his son where they have a word that they go through each year and discuss. So even stuff like that kind of allows for that connection and homework, I guess, away from the interactions that help make up for the lack of face-to-face conversation. But that works for pairs who are meeting in person too.
Yeah. Steve?
If you've got a mentee that maybe has the same type of hobbies you have, maybe it's golf, maybe it's jogging, maybe it's working out, lifting weights, or in my situation, Sam Skokin likes to hunt ducks and so forth. So he's part of our pit line all the time, done it. And we have a place, a wetland about 21 miles north of Fairbury. He was with us yesterday on the lunar deal. And it's kind of interesting. His dad called me up, and his dad's quite a bit younger, obviously. And we had lunch together over at Ashland. For lunch about 6 months after Sam was my mentee, and he said, "Dave, you do anything you want with him." He said, "It's open season. You can do what you want." And he said he really appreciates this. So. You know, you might say, well, what's the father going to say about that kind of stuff? So if you've got a hobby that matches up with your mentee, you know, really do things with that, because it works like that all the time. So in fact, he would have been here tonight. He had migraine headache, so I know about that already, you know, that kind of stuff. So I think when you get done with this mentee that you have is going to be really, truthfully, a lifetime part of your family. That's how I'm going to explain it. We've only had these for a year and a half now, or whatever we started with this first group. But it has probably had a bigger impact on me than maybe it did on him.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's incredible.
Powerful. Less than a year too for you.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what you're going to get out of this. So I hope you have the same experience I do. Thank God I'm a beta.
Thank you. If we're at a breaking point, I want to introduce Clark Hansen, who's hiding behind there. And he's not my favorite gastroenterologist, but I do go to that practice for my colonoscopies and everything. But Clark, say something about yourself and.
Well, I was late.
Okay.
We got pizza for you over here.
No. Anyway, I live here in town. I'm in a big group and I've been here for a long time. And it's nice of everybody to let me in down there. Somebody did. So, yeah, it's okay. I have a wife, a couple of kids. My son's a senior, so let's see what else. I know Steve from Prairie Life every morning. Well, he's there most mornings.
He's there every morning.
Good guy to show up there. And so, other than that, I don't know. I know a couple of the guys in here from a long time ago and have a relative, sort of. So, yeah, exactly. So, that's my story.
Thank you. Nice to have you here, Paul. Do you want to take a break now, just real quickly, if you need to use the restroom? Steve, they are...
Right through the wall here, right around the corner.
Okay. Go out. I suggest going out this door and take a right if you need to use the restroom. If you need a little more pizza or beverages, they're up there.
And we have moon cookies.
Moon cookies. And moon pies, too.
All right, well, a little backstory about my college career. I came in veterinary and biomedical sciences, and I still am. But last spring, I kind of decided, actually it was this spring, kind of decided that I didn't want to practice medicine and that I wanted to do something else with it. And so I finally ended up on genetics, and luckily enough, Sam Brower's mom is a bigwig geneticist, and she helped with like the Human Genome Project, the second part of that. And now she is the bioinformatics manager of ACMG, of the Newborn Screening Translational Research Network. It's kind of a mouthful, but pretty much what they do is they screen newborns for genetic disorders, and they have 26 approved screens now. And so I've been remotely working with her. I've had, I think, 2 calls a week with her for the past couple months. And I've pretty much been taking data from a Minnesota clinic and inputting it into a new database and cross-referencing it with another one to try to get more variations and genes known out there and available to the public and other geneticists. So this internship has been a great opportunity for me to explore a field that I never really thought I would be in up until a couple months ago. So the internship or the experience company has helped me out a lot in the last couple months, and I'd like to thank everyone else here for helping me out, and especially Mrs. Brower.
In Irv's absence, we're going to have Mike Workman, chapter advisor, get up and talk a little bit about mentoring, and then Pete Allman's going to follow Mike, or as I call him, Whippet. Anybody have any questions on how Whippet got his name?
He can run fast.
He can run fast. There is a greyhound-like dog out there named Whippet, and he was a Menden Whippet. And I don't know if you want to talk about the Saturday pledge class cleaning session.
Saturday mornings, we always clean the house. It's one of those traditions that's long gone. It doesn't happen anymore, right? No reason to clean houses anymore. So
We can bring that back.
we can bring that back. But I had a cut-off T-shirt or sweatshirt that I always wore. It was the Minden Whippets, and somehow that just kind of stuck. So yeah, the Whippets. And I have people that will find me or talk to me, and I always know they knew me during this 4-year period of my life when I was at the Beta House. That's when they knew me. So I want to talk just a brief couple minutes here about the house and mentoring and relationships with alums. I think the whole experience company idea kind of formed from after Bruce and several other folks were trying to get a lot of money from a lot of alums for the housing campaign that we had, and realized there's a lot of alums out there that have an interest in the house, but there's been kind of a disconnect. There hasn't been really that ongoing kind of thing. And realized, whoa, what a resource these alums are for the guys that are in the house. And so let's figure out some formal way to get them connected, whether it's communication, like a good website, or whether it's asking them to meet and connect with guys in the house. And also, it's a great resource for the guys. I mean, the general fraternity, one of the things they're looking at is how do we intentionally and formally make the Beta experience more than a 4-year experience. As a general fraternity, what are we doing for the guys that have been out 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? Because the whole general fraternity, a lot of that energy is going toward how do we help the undergraduates. So I think that's a whole thing. So this is kind of a good start for that. How do we help these young guys right here that haven't been out too long, but keep them involved and keep them connected? Because it's a mutually beneficial kind of thing. We all benefit. If the alums and the undergraduates are all talking, communicating, and working, sharing resources and sharing ideas. So we want to keep that going. A tool, and when Kurt first called me 2 years ago and said, would you be interested in becoming a strength coach and giving interviews to the guys? And Jim Krieger at Gallup, and I think you guys have been talking along with Grant and a bunch of other folks about, maybe doing that. And so 2 years ago, I took a 2-day course in Chicago, and then this summer a 3-day course. So now I just got some paperwork to do and a few words or a test to take and a few things to be officially a certified strengths coach. But I've learned a lot from doing that, the 70-some interviews, and I've enjoyed my opportunity. When he asked me to do it, I said, I almost want to say, does he know? My number one strength is individualization. So for me to sit down one-on-one and have conversations and listen to stories and ask questions of individual guys, I mean, I'm in hog heaven. I mean, that's, I love doing that. So it's kind of, it all fit. It all worked for me. So one of the things we talked about out in Wyoming was the whole concept of legacy. What's the legacy that we all want to leave? We've been at the Beta House for 4 years. You've been an alum for 53 years or however long. What do we want to have left? What's the legacy? And I think this whole thing that we're talking about is a way to do that. It's something that lives after you live. Either literally after you live or after you are no longer as involved. And I think as undergraduates, we talk about that with the exec. You know, how do we help these new guys experience what you guys experienced when you were freshmen? And now, how do we help as alums help them? So we want to keep this going. What's the legacy you want to live? And to think about it and be intentional about it. How do you help make that happen? So again, it's a general fraternity. There are 139 chapters across North America, and they're all at varying levels of success. Some of them are not very successful, just to be honest. And I think we are far at the other end, probably one of the more successful ones. In fact, I don't know, Sam, are you going to talk about the NIC?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, we're going to talk a little about that an award that we've received. But anyhow, the general fraternities found out one of the biggest factors is what is the alumni involvement in the chapter. If you have a chapter, and we pride ourselves in self-governance, if the guys in the house run the house, but still with that, there needs to be an alum involvement one way or another. And again, this is a good way to have the connections happen so that the guys in the house see what they're doing day in and day out has long-range implications. It's a longer than a 4-year party that I'm part of. It's part of my life, part of my career, it's who I am, it's the mission I want to serve. And we have a past Rush chair here, and Tanner isn't here right now, but I think the guys that have been doing the recruiting the last few years they know that there's a brand out there that Beta Theta Pi Nebraska has, and this is one piece of it that helps the sale, that helps the branding, and guys say, really, you do that? I haven't heard that in the other houses, the mentoring and the internships and all those kinds of things. So we want to continue building on that, so that can help do that. You mentioned earlier about the caring, and I think the trust. And I think that's a big piece. The formula: talent times investment equals strength, and it's called the strength finder. But really, we're just finding talent. We need to invest in it, and the investment is as a caring adult who spends time. And that time can be in a lot of different ways. As we said, it doesn't have to be face-to-face. Maybe that's the best if you can, but it might be emails, text messages, phone calls, all those kinds of things too. But if two people have the connection of trust, a relationship, it builds the talent into strength for both people. It's not just a great alum is going to be so nice as to give all this talent I have to you. It's we build each other's talent. We help each other become better people and better able to serve the world we live in. So I've been very fortunate to have been getting to know, and we haven't had the official mentoring program for just the last couple of years, but in a way I've been a mentor for presidents for the last 22 years, 21 years, and that's been a pretty amazing thing for me to have a relationship with presidents over that period of time, and I felt very, very lucky to have been able to do that. I do have a mentor now, Max, and he was one of the few guys in the house really who was in secondary education, so I think that's kind of how I got matched with him. And one of the things I did with Max, he wants to be a social studies teacher, so I thought, first thing I thought of, well, I need to get up to Lincoln High. You got to go to Lincoln High if you want to find out what his teaching's really about. Well, come to find out, he was already doing a practicum at Lincoln High, and he knew our social studies teacher, and he'd already been there, like he was there every week, you know, so that was already happening. So we talked about that. Well, the next thing I thought, I know the best social studies teacher in the state, my brother at Elkhorn. So we worked out last spring. He spent a day spending with Mark, my brother in Elkhorn, and we're going to probably do that a few more times and all that kind of stuff. So I think there's all sorts of ways we can, and I'm learning some things here today that I'm going to try to do to think about what I'm going to do with Max in his next year or two as he finishes up his certification and becomes a public school teacher and continues the ripple effect of all the good things that are happening, and he'll be doing that to all of his students for long term. So I think, Pete, you can clean up after me, okay, will you?
I will.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. I'm Pete Allman, and I gave a talk the last time we did this, and I think I was asked because I'm a psychologist, and I helped start a place called Lighthouse, which is an after-school program for teens who are at risk for dropping out of school and at risk for entering the juvenile justice system. So I help mentor hundreds of teens throughout the years, and I absolutely love what I do. I first want to congratulate you pledges. I know you probably looked at other fraternities and you pledged Beta Theta Pi, and I think you made the wisest choice. Getting re-involved as a mentor, I'm finding out, wow, the Alpha Tau chapter is really, really strong. Curtis and I were in the same pledge class, and I'm saying some of your pledge classes are just as strong or maybe even better than the pledge class of 75. That's a tough one to say, but really, congratulations, you guys. And you're seeing, you know, a lot of the alums said, thank God I'm a beta. And we mean it, and because it's the brotherhood that, you know, family members like to help each other, and then you hear the helping that's going on. So I was a rush chairman, so I look at things as kind of a rush chairman way, and Mike already said this, but the rush chairman, Kevin, and Parker, and Tanner, and Gage, and Alex lately, phenomenal job, truly. Just outstanding young men, and then leadership, you know, Stephen, Max. I mean, it's just good stuff that's going on, and I'm excited to be up here. Kurt told you a lot what to do, and I'm going to tell you some things as the mentoring, what really you don't need to do, or what you shouldn't do. And I shared this story first time, and everybody kind of laughed, and I didn't think it was that humorous, but when it's not happening to you, it is humorous. Early on in my marriage, Maureen would come home from her day at work, and there would be problems. And I shared ideas on how to solve those problems. She did not like that. In fact, it pissed her off. And I was like, what? I mean, I'm kind of the outside force in the trees, and I'm kind of a good problem solver, and why is this making her mad? Well, then I was in my master's program to be a psychologist, and I found out, oh, we're not here to solve problems. We're here to listen. We're here to share our experiences, and we're here to reflect what we hear. Like, wow, that was really difficult. Wow, I don't know how you got through that. Compared to I was raised, well, here's what you should do, A, B, C, and D. So, mentors, you do not need to solve anybody's problems. It's not our job. Our job is to listen, share our experiences, get people connected to other people in the similar fields, and really be that coach / adult friend who just is guiding. And it's fun because there's no really responsibility. For instance, if your son came to you and said, I'm changing from finance to art history major, your sphincter might tighten up a little bit. And you might feel like you need to problem solve. Where if your mentee said that to you, your sphincter wouldn't tighten up. You'd be like, oh, now that's interesting. Tell me why you chose that. And tell me what jobs are out there about that. And what do you like about that? How does that fit into your strength finders? Now, as a dad, would you say that stuff? Probably not. But as a mentor, and you probably should as a dad, but as a mentor, you have all this freedom. Just be interested, care, get involved, have them over to your house. I have two mentees. I've kind of adopted John. John has his own, but I've kind of adopted him. And I'm talking with Noah down in Atlanta now. Noah Thornton. I'm loving this. And it's a huge win-win. Make sure it's a win-win, and we'll be doing this, Bruce, for a long, long time.
Hope so.
Yeah. So, Kurt, thank you. I mean, you coached very well what we should do, and there's some things you shouldn't do too. So I just thought I'd share that. And I'd be interested if there's any questions anybody has for me as any role I played.
How many betas help at the lighthouse?
Oh, thank you for saying that. Well, I'm gonna meet a lot of the pledges this Friday, because every year the pledges, is it 20 hours community service, John?
Yeah.
They need to do 20 hours community service, and one option is at Lighthouse. So I'm gonna meet many of you.
Very good option.
Very good option. I'm gonna meet many of you down there. Like Chance, I don't know Max, but I've heard about Max, and I know what he's interested in. And I know someone that's in a field that he's interested in, and so I hope to introduce you to him someday and help you, in your journey. Because that's what brothers do. And it's fun. It's fun. Curtis helps raise money for Lighthouse. Thank you.
I have no problem asking for money.
He donates and then he says, follow suit. So, a lot of Beta pledges, volunteer, and every once in a while if an active gets in trouble with the law and they gotta do some community service, they also help out at my house. But we won't talk about that. So thanks, congratulations, and good luck to everybody.
Thank you.
Sam? Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Sam Brower and I am the current serving chapter president, so I'm in the second half of my term right now. I'm from Dakota Dunes, South Dakota, if anybody cares. Yeah, and my parents are both from Nebraska though, so I consider Nebraska to be my home more so than South Dakota, honestly. It's been a wonderful opportunity to serve this house, Alpha Tau, as president. I'm so fortunate that I made the decision to pledge Beta. It's been so foundational to my development as a person and as a leader, so I'm so thankful for everyone's commitment. You alumni that have committed to this program, the Experience Company, I can't state enough how unparalleled Alpha Tau's alumni involvement is. I've had the opportunity to see some different perspectives from other chapters around the country, other Beta chapters. You guys, the level of opportunity that we're providing to the current Alpha Tau members is just so beyond what other chapters are doing. So truly feel encouraged that we're doing amazing things, and I'm so excited. There's so much excitement budding right now in our house. There have been a lot of fun developments this summer, which I'll touch on, including the NIC award. I don't know what level this has been communicated at. So just as an overview, and I'm not sure, I'll go over a little bit of the details of this award because it is a huge thing. So the NIC is the North American Interfraternity Council, so it kind of oversees all chapters across the United States. And they have a special award that is given out annually, and this is called the Chapter Award of Distinction. And so we won this award, I believe it was in 2007, somebody might know. Yeah, Jared Thompson, my pledge ed, would be disappointed at me right now for getting that, but he's not here, so don't tell him about that. Yeah, so we won this award in 2007. It was our understanding that this was a one-time deal. We could only win it once. So this keystone, this past executive leadership conference is where this idea started to formulate. Can we go for this thing again? We figured out that it was a possibility, and sure enough, we won it. That's all we had to do, apply, right? But it is a testament to all the things that we've been able to accomplish over these past years. And we were one of 7 chapters to win this award. So that's one of all 7 fraternity chapters throughout the nation, not just Beta, not just Nebraska, but our Alpha Tau chapter, Beta Theta Pi, was one of 7 recognized chapters. And that's for, snaps to everyone that is a part of that. So you guys are all a huge part of that, and we would be nowhere without our alumni's involvement. Yeah, so it was a really cool thing. I can touch a bit about the event. If we're following the agenda, I can, when everybody's got their schedules out, I can highlight our plans to celebrate that award at that point in time. So just as an overview too of our mission as actives and where things are headed, our trajectory. So we, as a chapter, have really taken a hold of Grant Gregory's vision for us to be the best fraternity chapter in the nation. And we truly mean that. We're very ambitious about where we're headed. And it's been a huge plus having Grant on our side and all you alumni. Very thankful about that. And so there's just so many cool things that are happening in our chapter. If you guys haven't had a chance to see the chapter house in a while, it's looking fantastic. We've had some cool physical updates this summer. We had our basketball court painted, so we've got some fresh paint that people have been breaking in over the last few weeks. And that was a huge help by Drew Sang, who many of you alumni probably know, but he was also named the Housing Corporation Volunteer of the Year by Beta Theta Pi, so that's a huge thing that's been a testament to Drew's work. So that's an exciting thing, but the chapter house is pretty. We have lots of fun things going on. And I also wanted to touch a little bit on Penn State, and some of my comments were highlighted in the most recent issue of the Dragon's Tale, which, Bruce, you've been a huge help with that. But if you haven't had a chance to look at that, and I'm sure most of you are familiar with the Penn State tragedy that happened over there this last year. But with our chapter, we've really taken it, we've taken an ownership to promote fraternities in a positive light. The Experience Company is a huge side of that. So we're really not shy about, this is our future, why not own it? So yeah, we're not bashful about trying to be at the forefront of where fraternities are headed in America. And that's been seen in everything that we're trying to do. Yeah, and I'm really excited for this year. Things are looking great, but I encourage you, all of you, if you haven't met me, just to find me after this. I'll be available if you have any inquiries about random chapter things. I'll just be around, and I'll highlight the NIC scheduling thing. But thank you guys so much for your time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your commitment. It's been an awesome privilege to be a part of Beta Theta Pi. And I wanted to open up for Steven and then any of you other actives who had comments.
So I was thrown on the agenda. I'm the previous chapter president, kind of when this whole thing went on, but I'm still an active at Beta. I guess first to open it up, how many of you have heard of the Experience Company before this mentorship thing came to you guys? A few of you, and that's kind of what I expected. So how much do you guys know now, especially the freshmen? What have you guys been told, especially as you were rushing about the Experience Company? Anything? Yeah, Max?
Just that you're kind of like paired up with someone, and then, I mean, from what I hear, they just give you advice and kind of like give you with internships and job opportunities and just kind of guide you.
Yeah. Which is huge. Two, we are kind of creating a family, you know, it's kind of like a pledge family, but probably a little bit more deep. And so what now Kurt can do is he can take Will, he can take his new, the new mentee, and they can hang out as a group. So now you kind of create this family, kind of what Pete has already been doing with all those guys over there, and kind of interact. And sure, you know, maybe Kurt needs to hang out with Will individually one time and just talk to him one time, and also with the other mentee, but it really creates this family. And then as you start moving forward, Will, 1, 2, 3 years after graduation, he's probably still helping out with now this other mentee who's still a senior, so he's still involved in the house 5 years afterwards, or 10 years afterwards. And then Will gets enough experience where now he can be a mentor, and Kurt's maybe had 2 or 3, you know, more mentees with it. So we're really starting to cycle, and you get the top talent create the best relationships and you really create this ripple effect. Or if you want to look at another way, kind of like an Amway pyramid scheme, you know, you have the one person reach out to the other, and then their little network gives you money. So both work, and it'll be great either way. So that's just kind of our vision with that. Does anyone have any questions with that? Or just anything about the experience company or anything you're confused of? Okay, and then I guess just in closing remarks, freshmen, please take advantage of this. Think about where you want to be 4 years from now, but also enjoy your time in college, because there is a balance you can have with having as much fun and then also, you know, being involved in doing great things. And sometimes they both kind of overlap. A lot of times they do. We, as the active chapter, would be nothing without the alumni. The experience company is nothing without the alumni support and involvement as mentors. It really sets the Alpha Tau chapter apart. And for me personally, I can truly say how my life has been changed just within this year and a half with Grant Gregory. I mean, my you know, how I've envisioned my future being has gone from here to up here. And you know, things are starting to seem more possible, and some of that, it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. I believe that I can do more, and hopefully I will. But it has truly opened up my eyes, given me a different perspective, and really, I cannot thank Grant, the Experience Company, and Beta for what it has done for me, and I hope and I know that's why I will continue to be involved with Beta here afterwards. So that's all I have.
Connor, anything you want to say additionally about the Experience Company? It hasn't been, I should have had you on the agenda. Sorry, I didn't.
No, this was perfect. This is.
I killed
Yeah. That's it. All I needed to say is what he said. So.
We will be resending out the email though, and that will have some of these slides, and also it will kind of have like talking points that you can follow with your mentee as well. Yep. And feel free to ask questions.
Connor, could you? I probably missed it in the introduction. What's your position at the Experience Company?
I serve as president of the Experience Company, so I kind of basically monitor the 2 interns, and as well as the other guys that are helping out with the Experience Company. And so we have weekly phone calls where we discuss events like this coming up, different things that we need to communicate out to the you know, mentors or mentees, or to the you know, actives in the house about the internships that are coming up, doing all the kind of administrative work. And like I said earlier, like my goal is to mainly just keep it within the rails on our, you know, mission focus on making sure that the guys in the house get experiences that help them propel to the next level as individuals, and help the house propel to the next level.
So that would open it up to if there's any questions that any of you mentors have. I'd be glad to help. There's plenty of people that have been mentors for a while. One of the things that when I've been recruiting mentors, how I explain the Experience Company is I explain it as a 3-legged stool. There's, first of all, there's the mentor-mentee program, then there's the internship program, and then the last leg that we really haven't even talked about yet tonight, nor have we fully developed yet, is the job placement. After you graduate from Nebraska, we'll develop our network further, as Steve mentioned, so that we can help you find jobs as you come out. I know when Connor, one of his biggest bugaboos when he was living in the house and going to University of Nebraska, he was always frustrated that there wasn't a better job placement type situation. Well, this will help address that situation so that we have this great network of alumni, and we can help graduates get jobs in the areas that they want to be in. So Anyway, any other questions or comments that anybody has? We want to be respectful of everybody's time too. So, Bruce, do you have any other comments?
Nope.
Okay. Well, appreciate you all coming here tonight.
Thanks for dinner.
Yeah.
Thanks for dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.